this is what we're going to talk about today. Um, I just wanted to talk about it because I felt like oh, I'm still here. Cool. Okay, I wasn't sure if I ended, like if I need to start the broadcast or something. Anyway, so people always thought I would have daddy issues because I never heard my dad's voice, nothing, you know. And honestly, like I said, I will talk about the issues around how he died and things of that nature in the next video. So my was for people with daddy issues. I understand none of it. Like, one, people always say like the kids will look for another father figure or something of that nature. I was quite the opposite. I think it's because for me, my dad died before I was born. So he was right where he was supposed to be. You know, he wasn't like on drugs in a crack house somewhere or, you know, just with a whole nother family and didn't choose to be with me or anything of that nature, you know. It wasn't like that for me. For me, it was more so he was dead, so it's a different story. And for me, honestly, I was always very, very protective of my father. Like, the idea of my mother ever, like, if she married, which always bothered me to an extent, it would, the idea of her getting married bothered me. 9, 10, because like when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, those ages, I was just more so like, that would anger me, honestly, if that would have happened. But when I got older, like maybe like closer to my tweens and teens, for me, I would have just been like more so. I was more so of the idea that, you know, I was protective, but I wasn't specifically like um angry, so to speak. It was just more like for me, I was always protective of the. So that's why I never understood like people would say like that they look for another father or something like that. As if like to me it was like why would I disrespect my father that much to look for another father? You know what I mean? To me, that's how I've always been. I've always had a very close, very loving, like feelings towards my father, and that's, in my opinion, a thing that I've never really had a wavering feeling about, you know. And I kind of find it like odd, like I just don't understand really daddy issues, really. I think part of it has to do with the fact, like for me, my mother, and from what I've heard from other people, they always said like my father wanted children, and he when my mother was pregnant, he actually was very obviously excited and things of that nature. So for me, I mean, like, I guess it's different in that sense because I've always felt love, and then I've always felt love for him as well. So I guess I think that's why when people say daddy issues, it's like I should have daddy issues, shouldn't I? But I don't have daddy issues. I really don't. I have mommy issues. I have mommy issues like nonstop. But daddy issues, I don't know. My dad died, right? And I don't feel I have those issues. Yet I didn't bring anyone into this, but it's just something that I noticed, like with other people with their fathers, right? And you're seeing their like kids with their fathers should make you feel, I guess, a certain level of father, right? Well, in my experience, I grew up with some people with fathers that were, I guess, healthy situations, but then I grew up with other situations where I would see, for example, cousins, for example. Nobody had a stable situation, if you think of it. Because, like, some people had their fathers, but they didn't have their mother. We have that in our family. And then, in some cases, the father may have been there in the beginning and stuff, but they were like fighting, and it was like a mismatched, messed up marriage or something. And what stuck out the most to me was some of my cousins, for example, they seemed more ruined by the fact that they had a father than I did. I wasn't even born with a father. Like my father was literally when I was born. Um, and it was always like they had a father, like they were alive, but he wasn't like in their life, basically. Well, he was in their life, I think, actually. I mean, like they saw them, like he saw them sometimes, but I mean, like it wasn't like I don't know, whatever was going on. They seemed like they were deficient or something because they always seemed like they were so needy for their father, but they didn't have their father enough, I guess. And it was always weird because it's like all about perception, maybe, I guess. Because for me, I mean, like I never met my father, but I always felt love. You know what I mean? I always felt a mutual, love for my father. But like a lot of other people who actually knew their father have issues with their father, which would be odd to me. I don't know, like that concept in itself. So I guess for me, it was always like when you see someone who is struggling, whose father is alive, and they see them maybe like every weekend or a couple times a week or whatever, then you kind of feel like, well, then obviously, if she is struggling because she doesn't have her father as much as she wants, or her father doesn't love her enough, then I don't really think it's a matter of if the father's there or not, really, more so the perception of if you feel love, you know. And I don't know, maybe he didn't give love. I don't really know. I don't really know the exact relationship. I'm not her and I'm not him, so I'm just saying. But I just always find that concept of daddy issues. I mean, like I literally should have daddy issues, but I don't. Um, and sometimes I just think, well, maybe it's not about the physicality of if the father is there or if the father is not there. It's more the emotionality of the situation where is the father emotionally giving you if you feel a connection emotionally with your father, to that nature, which is just, I don't know. But yeah, I did notice though one thing. Um, I think a part of my rejection and loyalty, in a sense, because I have a sense of, like I said, when I was a kid, I had a sense of rejecting any father figure, because to me, it was like I was loyal to my father, and that was it. Um, and I think that can be connected to some things, like the fact of, for example, this is one part that I can relate to with people who say that like that they were raised with they're raised with a single mom and things of that nature. It's um like relationships, romanticism, things like that, where you don't know how to associate with the opposite sex, I guess, so to speak. Actually has to do with more other problems that I have. And then, yeah, I don't really want to talk about that in this video, but you know, I'm just basically saying that in this case, to me, I just like did not get like why I personally do not relate to people who have basically a similar way they grew up. I mean, there's one part, like I said, with the whole single motherhood, like the independent streak in me kind of like thing. That part of me, I know, has to do with the fact that I was raised as a single mother. And my mother basically being, the type that just basically did it all on her own. And to me, it's kind of like I've been the same way where I just do it all on my own. And like, but at the same time, it's like there's a bit of a streak for me. It's not the same. For example, some people have this I don't need a man because kind of thing. Mine is not that. I don't have any hurt or problems. This is why I've never relationship or anything like that, in like a relationship or something. But to me, it's like otherwise, I'm good just doing it all on my own kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I guess it makes me more comfortable in the single lifestyle, and I don't really see the need in not being single. But there's plenty of reasons around this. For example, my mother, for example, always hated relationships. In her situation, that's why it's not that her situation, and like I said, my cousin's situation is an example of why having a 4-year-old father I had. Because to me, it was just like so many people would complain about their fathers. For example, with my mother, I've talked about the situations with my mother. So she came from a family that was really, really troubled. Okay, to the point where she had two parents, but I think that was actually more the other. So I mean, like towards each other, and I think that's why for my mother, she always was like the type who did not want marriage because basically a marriage from hell, basically. like type of situation. So that's why for me, like I always grew up with the parent that wanted nothing to do with like those type of things. And so that's why for me, I guess I grew up with kind of like the flip end of how I saw like other people who had bad situations with their fathers. Maybe even mothers. I guess I don't feel lacking in any way. I feel like oh, he was an all right person, and I mean, like that I don't really think I'm gonna get into on this video. But yeah, I had my situation with women in general. I've always had a thing with women, like I don't know, but I really like my honestly though. There is one thing that I know that is like my whole way of kind of being with men can sometimes have a little bit to do with my relationship daddy issues. like with women and never really to be part of that really, and kind of with my mother and things of that nature. That's always been, as far as daddy issues, I just can't come up with anything specific that I've had commonality with. I really can't. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that, really. I just wanted to come on here and basically say a few. One other thing regarding Black Men next video. So thanks for listening and have a great day. Bye.